Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Up and in. 1 point more to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field, back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
Big week for both Oregon men's and women's basketball this week. The schedule ahead, 8 o'clock tomorrow against USC. The only time that Oregon men's basketball plays USC this year. The game day posters, you can see them behind me if you're watching the show. We've got a new one for you for the USC game at 8 o'clock on Thursday. Then on Saturday, it is the Black History Month game for the Ducks against UCLA at 7 o'clock. Encourage you to wear black for that game. That's what I'll be doing, and the staff will be doing sitting courtside. It is the Black History Month celebration when Oregon hosts UCLA at 7 o'clock on Saturday. That's also an ESPN game, and then Thursday's game is on ESPN2. A chance on the ESPN family of networks to make an impact as Oregon in the latest bracketology today, at least according to Joe Lunardi of ESPN, Ducks are one of the first 4 teams out. So if the tournament started today, they'd be just outside, but Oregon's on the bubble. Now, if Oregon can get a win over USC, get a win over UCLA, I got to think that on Duck Insider on Monday, we're going to be having a good conversation about if the tournament started today. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile, for the Oregon women, they're hitting the road tomorrow, traveling to Los Angeles. The two teams swap sites, if you will. 7 o'clock on Friday, 6:30 pregame with Terry Johns. The Ducks taking on a good USC team, and then UCLA at noon on Sunday for basketball. Also want to point out that Oregon men's golf is in action today at the Amerari Intercollegiate out in Hawaii. You'll be able to follow along on the Oregon men's golf social media. And then this weekend, indoor track and field is all over the place as far as Boston, Massachusetts over this weekend. It's also opening weekend for Oregon lacrosse. At 1 o'clock, the Ducks will host Xavier on Saturday at Pape Field. And then Oregon women's tennis is also in action on Friday. By the way, we are already in plans to get Nils Schielander on the show next week because it's Husky Week for Oregon men's tennis next week. Nils Schielander will be back in the studio. There you go. What's on the show today? There's one sport that I did not mention that is competing this weekend. In fact, they're competing tomorrow against Maryland. Televised by Flow Softball, Oregon softball is in action in Puerto Vallarta. This is actually, I want to point out, the only trip that Ryan Milano, who's directing the show today, will not make, right? This is the only trip. International waters, you know.
Correct. Only trip we're not going to go. We're going to get to the other 48 games of the season.
Heck yeah. KWVA will have all the softball action for you. KWVA at this point, can I say this, Ryan, just essentially an extension of the Oregon Sports Network. Is that fair?
I personally think so.
Love that.
But, you know, we'll leave that up for interpretation.
Love that. Ryan Milano, the voice of Oregon softball, he will have the call for everything coming up after this. So I know a lot of fans are like, well, what do I do with Flow Softball? That is the way to tune in this weekend as Oregon plays 5 in Puerto Vallarta. If you were with us yesterday, you heard part 1 of our conversation, our season preview with Oregon softball head coach Melyssa Lombardi. We're going to lead off today's show with part 2 of that conversation, breaking down the roster, everything else. And then still to come, Derek Radley, Oregon women's golf head coach, will be with us here in the studio, and we'll hear from a number of Oregon softball student-athletes previewing the start of the season. But Derek Radley, always a fun time as women's golf season begins, what do you know, on Sunday. More on that coming up. See, there's so much going on. I didn't even move my calendar to Sunday, and Sunday through Tuesday of next week is when Oregon women's golf is in action. But Oregon softball starts this weekend. Melyssa Lombardi, part 2 of our chat with her previewing softball season. How about Tara McGowan, and not just the hitting aspect and the leadership, but even at that position that she's playing, just how valuable is it to have that much experience?
Same. I can't say enough for what Tara's done for our program. And I think about last year, and she had such a great start and then, got that injury bug. And I just would love to see her stay healthy and so it can allow her to do what she's capable of doing. I think she has great leadership behind the plate. I think she's another one that's clutch. And I think you're going to see more power from her this year.
You mentioned that in the offseason you liked that the ball was traveling further in the fall. So is more power maybe a theme perhaps this season?
Yes, I think so.
All right. What else did you like in fall ball?
Fall ball, I liked how we were able to move quickly. Like there's a lot to do, and sometimes you don't get to it. Like I said, if we're starting maybe closer to our foundation, where we were able to get through the things that we needed to get through. And when you have elders and then you have young people, it forces the young people to have to play at a faster, higher pace instantly. So I think about Remington, our only freshman.
Yeah.
I think about her in the beginning of the fall and where she is now and how much she's a great athlete, but she's improved so much because of who she surrounds herself.
Following up on the roster and like the way that it breaks down. We talk about like the returners and the veterans, but one thing that sticks out to me is 7 sophomores. So it's still a pretty young squad. Your top 7 hitters returned from last year. It's still a very young squad, though, with 7 sophomores, but it almost feels to me like it's a team that does have more experience than the average, sophomore-heavy roster. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think so. Stevie Hansen got a ton of innings last year, more than I would have expected for her. And the experience that she gained as a freshman, she got thrown into the fire. Paige Sinicki was our starting shortstop as a freshman last year. Yeah. So you think about them as sophomores and the knowledge that they have and the pace that they play at, and both of them just being very competitive in the first place, but just now the knowledge that they have from that first year. I think it's huge for both of them and for our team this year. Melyssa
Lombardi with us, talking Oregon softball, hitting the road to Mexico coming up. Okay, so now bigger picture. Okay. Mention you return your top 7 hitters. Do you like the way the lineup's shaping up? How is the lineup shaping up?
No, I like the lineup a lot. I think you're going to see a lot of people that were there last year that will going to be there this year, obviously, but I think we have more depth in our lineup this year. And so what's kind of cool is that depending on who we play, we always match up, obviously. Yeah. I just think we have the ability to match up even more because of the depth that we have.
How about pitching? How's it coming together? Tell us about your staff.
It's coming good. I'm excited to see this group go. I just think as softball goes, you have to have a staff.
Yeah.
You can't, the days of like 1.5 or 2 pitcher, it's just different. The ball is yellow, the technology that the hitters swing, the information that they get before they even come up to the plate. It is, I feel like kind of the game has shifted more towards the hitter versus the pitcher.
Yeah.
And so, going 7 innings, if somebody can go 7 innings, great. But if not, then to be able to have somebody start, have somebody close, or even have a middle relief like you would see in baseball, I think that's great.
Yeah, you and I have talked about that a lot, it seems like, over the last couple of years. And I'm always fascinated by that, like how the evolution of the game has sort of led in that direction. How has it changed, I suppose, the way that you approach roster management as a whole? Like, you're carrying more pitchers now than you ever have across the country, right?
Yes, for sure. And you need to. And you need to be able to use that staff because you're going to have just the matchups now. Like, I think people are so much more in tune to the matchups and the analytics that are going along with softball than we've ever been.
Yeah.
So just the information that we have, it's important to carry a larger staff. I have pitchers that can throw the ball up really well. I have pitchers that can throw the ball down, that have good change of speed. Some that are really good velo pitchers, others that not as much velo but have a ton of spin. So I really like what the staff looks like. They have really been getting after it in practice, going live against our hitters. And I'm just excited to see them step out on the mound this weekend.
Start with the returners if you could. Like, where have you seen the growth from the returners on your staff? Let's start there.
Yeah, Stevie, you think about the innings that she got last year, and I think with those innings, it allowed her to see pitches that were strong, pitches that needed to be stronger for her, and then to continue to get stronger physically.
Yeah.
because it's just such a long season. I'm excited about Reggie Breedlove. She has really, really been working on her drop ball. And it's a great pitch, and I love that just because of our infield. We have a really strong infield, so to get ground balls all day long from her, I love it. Allison, she was a freshman last year, and she's a freshman who was a pitcher and hitter, which is very difficult to do. You have to put so much, you have to put the same amount of time, if anything more, into both sides of it. And just to see her grow and mature and to be able to handle those two things, again, just sophomore year. It's funny with sophomore year, that freshman year, there's so much unknown. And then sophomore year, they're just more settled. They know, they get what they have to do. So I like Morgan Scott. We got to play against her last year. She should have beat us last year. She throws the ball hard, has really, really good movement. She's experienced. The load Stevie was carrying last year, she carried as well. And then with Elise as well, just as a freshman, carried a really heavy load. So I really like what our staff has to offer. I think they are going to all look very different, and just really, pitching and softball, it's about pitching. Yeah. It really is. I mean, defense wins championships, yes, but it's also, too, what does your pitching staff look like? And I really like what this group's going to do together.
Well, I got to tell you, you're in midseason form, because I didn't even have to ask the follow-up of what about the newcomers to the staff. You just went right there. So midseason form.
I felt it was coming.
Yeah.
I felt it was coming.
That was great. Midseason form. So, all right, I've known you long enough now to know, and fans, I have to say this out loud, that I'm not going to ask you to tell us what the lineup is. I'm not going to ask you to tell us what the rotation is, because I don't want Maryland, Wisconsin, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, or North Dakota State to know that. So, good talk.
All right.
Thanks for being here.
Perfect.
Overall, generally speaking, just keys to success this weekend. What do you want to see down in Mexico?
You know what I want to see? I want to see this team come out and do what they know how to do. Not to try to do any more, any less, just to come out and to compete together as a team and enjoy what they do. Like, enjoy it. Sometimes we put too much pressure. No pressure. Go out there, enjoy, and compete. Yeah. And I think this group is ready to do that.
It's a business trip for sure. Mm-hmm. Anything fun planned while you're down there?
Yeah, we got couple things going on. What's really cool about this Puerto Vallarta is that we all stay at this resort on the beach, right? Poor us. And then the field is literally right across. Yeah. So we meet in the lobby as a group. We walk over, and you get to walk through the community to this field. It's like an old school vintage softball field. You have fans from all the teams, but then you have a ton of local fans.
Cool.
You just get to really get into the community while you're there.
That's awesome.
It's really cool.
That's cool. Well, hey, good luck.
Okay.
The whole season, every Tuesday, Coach Lombardi will be back joining us here on Duck Insider. What did we miss? Anything else fans should know? Tickets are available. Come back to the Jane here in the next few weeks.
Yes, definitely.
I think I got it all. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Safe travels. And sunscreen? No sunscreen?
Yes, a lot of sunscreen.
Okay, fair enough. I love that she gave us a little bit of the insight, though, into what a tournament like that is like. You're going to play at a resort in Puerto Vallarta, and we all assume, oh, yeah, that'll be fun, but it's also a business trip. And I love that she said, there is a cultural experience that these student athletes get to go through, just going down there and walking through the environment. That was pretty cool. So season preview, if you missed part one of our chat with Melyssa Lombardi, was on yesterday's episode of Duck Insider. We talked to her for about 20 minutes, so we couldn't fit it into one show. We're also going to hear her conversation with the general media on the show tomorrow, getting ready for that evening first pitch in Mexico that you can watch on Flow Softball. Meanwhile, speaking of diamond sports, just coming in today, right when we got on the air, actually, the Pac-12 preseason baseball coaches poll is out. Stanford has been picked to repeat as conference champs, followed by UCLA, who also received 2 first-place votes. Stanford received 9. Oregon State picked 3rd, Arizona 4th, Oregon 5th. The Ducks checking in with 68 total points, 6 spots behind Arizona, who's picked 4th. Then ASU 6, Washington 7, Cal 8, Washington State, USC, and Utah, the bottom 3. Remember, it's the Pac-11 for baseball without a Colorado baseball team. This all leading into opening day next Friday at PK Park, a 3 o'clock first pitch for the Ducks against Xavier. That's on the horizon next week, if you can believe it. Meanwhile, talking about baseball as well, 4 Ducks have been named to the All-Pac-12 preseason team. Tanner Smith, Drew Cowley, Josiah Cromwick, and Logan Mercado. And here's hoping the Ducks end up with 5, 6, 7, 8 all conference selections at the end of the year. But nice to get that preseason honor. When we come back, Derek Radley, Oregon women's golf head coach, he's going to sit down with us previewing the start of their spring season coming at you on Sunday. A lot to cover, breaking ground on the Jake, a whole lot with Derek Radley. We might ask him about hair, too, on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. It is officially golf season. Derek Radley is here in the studio. What is up, Coach? How are you?
I'm doing great, bud. Excited to get going. How are you?
I'm great.
Yeah?
You know, I've been asking everybody for fatherly advice as they come on, you know, periodically, like folks like you that come on every month or so. What should I know about raising a 5-month-old? And I have not tested how high he bounces yet.
So I brought a surprise for you.
Oh.
You don't know this.
Gosh, okay, here we go.
Okay, so I got you a little something.
Oh, no.
Congratulations on Jordan.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Of course, it's in an O and swoosh bag.
Yes, it is.
Right? That makes sense.
But this is my favorite.
Your baby's first word will be Dada by Jimmy Fallon. Fellow Jimmy Fallon fan.
So I was given this book.
This is great.
All three of Sarah's and I's kiddos, their first word was Dada. And you know what?
That's great.
So my wife, though, was very thankful, too, because in the middle of the night, they were saying Dada. So helping Lizzie out here as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, thank you.
You got
I
it,
really
buddy.
appreciate
Congrats,
that. That's really
man.
nice of you. Yeah.
Congrats.
I don't know if you know this, but we actually built the studio setup. Maybe you've figured this out. We built the studio setup to not just be like sports talk man cave, but we wanted like a late night set. Have you noticed that? Like, you're sitting in the comfy chair. We have like the big desk with all the stuff and microphones.
I feel like I'm sitting next to Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, God, that's nice. Yeah. He makes a lot more money than I do.
Yeah,
but, you know. Well, I'll get there. We'll get there. Thank you. That's awfully nice of you.
Yeah, you're welcome, bud. Congrats.
So what should I know about a 5-month-old? I mean, he's kind of crawling.
Well, we were talking beforehand. I mean, the sleep is incredible.
Yeah, he sleeps a lot. I can't complain. I'm sorry to all parents out there that sleep in 2-hour spurts. Last night I slept for 6 straight hours and then another 3. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, speechless.
So, in other words, you have no advice because it's going.
No, yeah. You're doing way better than I am. So,
well, thank you.
You guys are crushing it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I have a funny question for you then before we talk golf. So, this has been an ongoing discussion for a myriad of reasons, who has the best hair in the athletic department. You're probably in the running.
I appreciate it, bud.
Yeah.
It's gotten to be it's changed colors.
That's fine.
Since I've I've come here to Oregon, but
does your headshot still have the old color on your credential?
Yeah, Nate Kruger does a great job.
See?
Of,
Nate, that's good SID work right there.
Yeah, and maybe give me a little tan, with it.
Photoshop is cool.
Yeah. Coach Ulmer's got some nice locks.
Don't give him that.
Yeah, he's a good buddy.
I know he is, but you know this because you know him as well as I do. He would say that he has.
Yeah.
The best hair.
All right. I shouldn't. Yeah.
You know who I think's a subtle candidate for best hair on the male side?
Who's that?
Kelly Graves.
Because
he just knows his style and he rocks it.
A lot of product.
You talk about a tan.
Yes.
He's got the tannest of anybody up top. I had to ask you that because last time Coach Ulmer was on, we discussed such things.
Okay.
And so
did he give me a shout out?
No.
Oh man, I'll call him after this.
But I'm just wondering, is he actually who everybody thinks has the best hair, or is that just that he's perpetuating the narrative? You know what I mean?
Yeah. We've never talked about it. I can tell he cares a lot.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
I've asked him if for a creative project he would do some of like the spray and coloring.
Okay.
Do like a green and yellow.
Yeah.
For maybe like one match this year, and he did not respond.
Okay.
He just said, "Yeah, we'll brainstorm."
You're giving my team some ideas.
I am.
They love making bets with us coaches.
This is great. So
if
you defend your title in maybe one or two, I don't know how many you think from last year, because you guys won an awful lot of tournaments last year.
We did five times, including a Pac-12 championship. I don't know if you knew the bet that we had last year with the team for winning the conference championship.
I can't remember.
So they bet us ahead of time. Coach Monica.
Oh yeah, jumping into the pool.
We had to jump in the pond, and we did. So
you did.
We held up to our end of the bargain and gladly leaped in the chilly water.
Okay, so what's better than that? I mean, what's going to be going in that you would dye your hair?
That would be
like we're saying green on one side, yellow on the other. Is that like we're?
I'm down for it. I mean, I'm in.
Okay, women's golf. Find me on my emails on the website. Just let me know what you want to submit as ideas. We're in for this. This is great. I'm so sorry for what I just.
Man, I give you a present and everything.
I know. Thanks. Oh yeah, that's how that goes. Okay, how'd the winter go? And how'd the fall season go? Did you like what you saw from your team?
Fall season was outstanding. We had 3 returners from our incredible team last year that really led this fall, and a couple newbies that have joined in as well.
Mm-hmm.
We did great. We're ranked 5th in the country after our fall season. We got to compete 4 times. We led off the season at the Annika Invitational, which typically is the top 12 teams, ranked teams from the previous year. So this was our first time being invited to that tournament, which was a real honor to go to Annika Sorenstam's college event.
That's cool.
She invites us to. So we went there. Then we went to Chicago. And then we had the real honor of playing in the Eastlake Cup, which was on TV on Golf Channel. That was televised.
Fun to follow in October.
Fantastic from the final 4 teams of last year's national championship in a format that was great. That was stroke play for 1 day and then turned to match play for 2 days. So great prep for the national championship. And then we finished up our fall season in Hawaii as we normally do for the Pac-12 preview. So a lot of success, a lot of individual success, and from some newbies as well.
One of the things that I looked at, Coach, is where you finish as the fall moved forward, and in every week you improved, it seemed like. Do you look at that kind of stuff? Is that a fair assessment that my amateur eyes are looking at, that you moved up in the standings each tournament?
I think so. That's it's something that we talk about a lot. I think every time we have the opportunity to compete, we want to bring our best, so that come postseason, it's nothing new.
Yeah.
And so, I think our goal is to kind of see where we're at in the beginning of the year, and you don't really know as a coach. Obviously, we've had a lot of success in years past, but this is a brand new team. So excited to see what we can do, and certainly the things that I saw in the fall were exciting, and we'll see how we get rolling.
How was Hawaii, by the way?
It was great.
Pretty nice?
Yeah, fantastic, yes.
That's cool the first week of November.
Yeah.
So, softball is heading to Mexico this week.
I was talking to Coach Lombardi, yes.
Yeah, so she was just on the show prior to you.
Okay.
And, I didn't get the invite to go to Mexico.
No? Okay.
So I didn't get the invite to go to Hawaii.
Okay. Okay.
What do I got to do? Like, what's a man got to do? I'll bring the baby.
Well, if you keep making these yellow-green hair bets, I mean.
Hey, someone's got to be there to capture the content. Am I right?
Fair.
No. In all seriousness, though, I mean, you schedule, and I've always been amazed at this. Like, you get just listen to this. You go to Minnesota, you go to Illinois, and I joke like you go to Hawaii, but you go to Georgia. Like you go all over the country, play different types of courses. That's got to be a conscious decision on your part, especially in the fall where the weather's not as nice around the country. You play in some tough conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Come May, after all the conference championships are done, there are 6 regionals that take place all over the country. And in golf, depending on where you are located, there can be a lot of different types of grass, different climate, different weather. And so we love to travel and get used to different settings. Yeah. And so that come that regional week, we're comfortable and hopefully wherever we get sent.
February 12th is when things get back rolling for you. You like the way that your schedule stacks up moving forward?
Yeah, really excited. So we're going to kick off this upcoming weekend in L.A. At Palos Verdes Golf Club, a fantastic golf course. Typically the top 20 teams or so get invited to this event. So last year we had won. So excited to go down and hopefully defend our title this year, kick off the spring season. And then after that, really excited. We got our first time ever invite to what's called the Darius Rucker. And the Darius Rucker is sponsored by PXG, which is the equipment club manufacturer that sponsors our program. And so really excited with them that we got the invitation to this event. It's going to be on Golf Channel.
Yep.
All 3 days, I believe February 27th, 8th, and then March 1st. So just, again, another wonderful opportunity for our ladies to showcase on TV, get ready for the national championship, and so hopefully fans can check it out.
How big of a deal is it to have events before you get to postseason that are on TV? Like, does that really add not just exposure, like for your roster? Does that add to like the pressure, getting used to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Just extremely thankful for Golf Channel, and it seems like every year more and more tournaments, regular season tournaments, are on TV.
Yeah.
And I mean, when those cameras are in your face and you're trying to hit a shot, there's enough pressure already without the cameras. And so it's great practice for our student athletes to hopefully get them ready for an exciting end of the year.
Yeah, that's great. Derek Radley joining us, Oregon women's golf head coach. Check in on the roster for us. You mentioned it a little bit. You touched on it a few minutes ago. Just you got some returners, you got some new faces. Break it down for fans. What do you like?
Yeah, so 3 returners from last year. Xin Yu Lu goes by Cynthia. She's our reigning Pac-12 individual champ.
Yep.
From Taiwan. She is a junior this year. Chin Su Chen, CCT as we refer to her, from Taiwan as well. She's a senior. And then Brianna Chacon from SoCal is a senior as well. So those 3 returners, we're going to lean on them a lot for their experience that they've had, for their time here at Oregon, especially what we did last season. And then newbies, Ashley Park comes to us as a transfer student. She's a junior. And really, really impressed all of us this fall. She, I think, is currently ranked 8th in the country as an individual. I think her worst finish out of the 4 events this last fall was tied for 12th.
Pretty good.
So, man, just jumped right in and made a huge impact and filled those couple spots that we lost. So, and then Annika Varma is a fantastic addition, freshman from Northern California, who's had great success at the junior level. And then Brittany Shin was on our team last year, and Brittany's a senior this year. She was a transfer from Cal State Fullerton last year. Didn't quite make the lineup last year, but has really shown some great signs this past fall and is working so hard. And our last spot is another transfer student athlete from Seminole State College in Orlando, and her name is Minori Nagano. Minori is just as sweet as they come, and Minori actually had won the national championship at the junior college level as an individual her freshman and sophomore year.
Wow.
So she comes to us with great experience, winning at a championship level, and excited for her. She's actually traveling to this first tournament at Palos Verdes.
Cool stuff from Derek Radley breaking down the roster. We're going to continue with the Oregon women's golf head coach. Part 2 of our chat as they start their season on Sunday here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes! So much waiting for me. Yeah, I wanna go outside. I wanna be.
We're here.
Whoa, that was fast.
There's a forest closer than you think. Find a park or forest near you and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by USDA Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you in the Country Financial Studio. The Ducks for women's golf starting their spring season here coming up this weekend. We'll have updates for you on Monday and Tuesday as they continue their opening tournament. We talked with Derek Radley. You heard about the roster, and it sure does seem like they've got some competition, and that's what you like to see because they only play 5 in their tournaments. We continue talking with Derek Radley about the Jake and a whole lot more with the women's golf head coach. Depth, it sounds like.
No question.
Competition.
And that's the goal, right? Because we can play 5 at a time. And so, you know, we're going to have 3 at home that are itching to really push and get in that lineup and keep it competitive, but in a positive way.
You know, I love, too, that you have a great mix of returners and newcomers that are competing because, like, you know, I think about this a lot in college sports and fans, like I've said this on the show before, it's hard for fans now in the nature of college sports because there is so much roster change from year to year, right? Like it's more difficult, I think, now than it was 10, 20, certainly 30 years ago to get to know a team over the longevity. You've got some of that consistency. Just how valuable is that like your culture is sort of established, for lack of a better phrase?
That's the whole key, I think, to a successful program is good culture. And that's something that we preach every day. Come into practice with good and positive attitude so you can push each other, hold each other accountable, and so you can really lean on each other when those pressure situations come down the stretch. So, you know, I'm thankful for the student athletes that we've had on this team in years past that have really bought into that and really set the tone for the future of this program.
Well, and it's one thing to get to that top of the mountain like you guys did last year, competing on the very last day. It's another thing to sustain the success, you know, and I feel like you would agree that culture is a big part of that. Now, one of the things that I'm kind of curious about, with that in mind, the sustained success, you talked about how scheduling in golf, you get invites, right? And then you kind of have to work your way up that ladder to get those invitations, to get that competition. I mean, how big of a deal is that? Like that you get those invites, you're incrementally moving up. Is that a fair description?
You nailed it spot on. Yeah, I think when Coach Monica and I first got here, there, you know, we knew of a couple top tournaments that I guess personally we wanted to be at and receive those invitations to, but we had to prove that we were good enough to get there. And so thankful that we are now, and also I think it's you want to try to play against the best week in and week out to really prepare you for the end of the year. And so, and a lot of our student athletes really have high aspirations to play professional golf after they leave here and their time here at Oregon. So excited to be in those tournaments, excited to have those opportunities and to see how we do.
Nitty-gritty question for you, because these are the sorts of things that fascinate me. How far in advance do you do your schedule?
Great question. So we actually completed our fall schedule of next year already.
Okay.
So it's typically, I would say, right about a year in advance.
So you're not football where you're going to have to schedule until 2035.
No, we're not quite that. Yeah, and there's a lot of new tournaments that tend to pop up, especially now going back to what we talked about with Golf Channel televising different opportunities. So, but typically about a 12-month in advance is how we finish our schedule.
And is that in large part due to the fact that it is sort of an invitation type structure, right? Like in other sports, it's like, hey, other coach at university, you want to come play? You got an opening. Like you're not necessarily doing it that way.
No, and to let fans kind of think about this way, like when basketball team, right? Like you have the arena just sitting there.
Right.
For golf, we have to really map out like 4 days of taking the course away from, if it's a private club, membership, or blocking off that tee sheet. And so, and also, booking a hotel that's big enough to take care of usually anywhere from, probably 12 to 16 teams that are coming. So there's a lot that goes into managing and booking a golf tournament.
Yeah, 12 teams. You figure what, 10 per travel party for easy math?
Yeah, eight-ish probably.
Okay.
Like five to six student athletes and then 2 coaches, maybe an
So you're still talking even for a small tournament like 100 people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. See, I just think that stuff's interesting, because there's so much behind the scenes, and part of my goal of doing Duck Insider, right, is to give fans an idea of what happens not just on the golf course, on the floor, and so I'm just interested in that kind of stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Palmer Cup.
Yes.
So we talked about this. Coach Radley is going to be coaching Team USA in the Palmer Cup coming up. Tell fans about it.
Extremely honored for this opportunity. I was contacted by our Coaches Association over Thanksgiving, actually, that I was one of the 3 finalists.
Cool.
For the opportunity, and it's amazing, man. Our student athletes make us coaches look great.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful for them. They're the ones that are working so hard and putting in all this effort and having so much success. So to have this opportunity, I'm so honored to be chosen. It's going to be in June. Really excited. It's going to be in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, which is where Arnold Palmer grew up.
Yeah.
At Loyola Golf Club there. And so it's going to be the top 24 American college players versus the top 24 international college players. So last year, 2 of our Ducks had the opportunity to travel to Switzerland and compete in this event, Cynthia and Heather. And so now I've been selected to coach the United States team, and it's going to be here on U.S. soil.
And this is, for fans that are not familiar, this is like one of, if not the biggest collegiate individual tournaments that exists, right? I mean, this is a huge, huge deal.
It is. It's a huge honor, both for the coaches selected and for the student athletes that make it. And so it's, those top 24 are based off of rankings.
Yeah.
I think I get 1 coach's pick in there, but just excited to, and I've been around these great players, fortunately, for so long, both on the recruiting trail and then watching them go through college. So excited to just have a great week, help them understand the values and the importance that Arnold Palmer had and he set for, his legacy that he's carried on in this game and the tradition that, that he brought to it. And so it's going to be a really, really fun week. And I think my family's going to be there as well.
Great.
So my wife and, we named our oldest son Palmer. after Arnie. So just really, really excited.
That's great. Well, congratulations. We'll, of course, be following, and we'll make the trek and do a remote Duck Insider.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
We're going to find a way.
Yeah.
We're going to find a way. Okay, also, since we last spoke, breaking ground on the new golf facility,
Yes.
the Jake.
Yes.
How cool is this?
There it is. I don't look too handy with a shovel in my my hand there, but no, this is so exciting. A dream that there's Coach Martin there and I have had, and just so thankful to Rob Mullins, H.J. Cohen, Jody Sykes, Justin Fisher, all of our administration here, and there's Mr. Jeff Gaskell kind of heading up the project with his construction team, and certainly none of this would be possible without all of our Ducks supporters and the donors that have come forth and have wanted and have listened to give us our student athletes this opportunity to have a place called home.
Yeah.
So we call ourselves the Duck family, and just so excited to actually have a place to call home now.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. We were talking with HJ, for those of you that missed it on the show yesterday, and he was like, everything kind of depends on weather, but hopefully by the end of the calendar year, we're talking about doing a little tour over there. That's exciting.
I would love to see you hit some golf balls down there.
Oh, no, you wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
right?
So I've told you this before. This is two completely different sports. My mini golf game is great.
Okay.
Drivers, irons, woods,
not so much.
Wedges.
Okay.
If I had a bag full of putters, I'm fine.
Well, I'll have a couple putters waiting for you then.
Thank you.
We'll keep it safe.
I appreciate
that. We'll maybe take a couple of those hard hats and we'll put them on our student athletes when
Did you get to keep a hard hat?
No.
Oh, come on.
No.
I think when the project's over, we're gonna have to mount a hard hat or a shovel for you.
Yeah,
okay. right next to the golf club. It'd go well.
I cheer on the amazing construction workers that are doing their job. They're doing great.
How cool is it gonna be for you and your student athletes to also follow that construction?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean,
you get to see it.
It is. We practice down there typically 2 to 3 to 4 days a week
at Emerald Valley. For those
at Emerald Valley. Jim Pliska is the owner of the golf course, and has given us this wonderful opportunity. So we get to be down there, and it's so fun. I remember pulling in that parking lot and seeing the actual dirt being dug up, and I got chills.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we've seen it on paper, we've seen it virtually of what we would like it to be, and now actually see it come to life. So we're out there hitting golf balls around the construction site and putting, and but we love hearing the tractor sounds and the noise, and it's exciting.
Yeah, that's cool just to follow it along. I mean, I can tell a couple stories about that. Like when I would walk by and see the Jane getting constructed, right? Yeah. Walk by, see the HDC getting built. Those are some of the big projects that stick out to me just in my time here at Oregon. And then, of course, Hayward Field. Everybody got to watch that get constructed. Yeah. There's something about seeing it from when it starts until when it's finished that's just a pretty magical thing.
Yeah, we'll do or try to do a good job of documenting it, throughout its stages, so we can have that publicly somewhere for the fans to, and certainly the donors and Mr. Peter Jacobson himself to check out as we go through. So just exciting times. I think our student athletes are really excited about it as well. So,
they should be.
Yeah,
it's going to be exciting. What else do we miss? What should fans know?
Just really looking forward to this year. Certainly appreciate all the support from last year being on TV. I had so many staff members and donors and fans come up to me and just tell me how exciting it was to watch golf. A lot of them maybe have never really watched golf before, but to cheer us on, and we felt that. So this is a new year, new opportunities, but certainly going to lean on past experiences and see if we can get back there.
Well, selfishly, I really enjoyed that it took place in Arizona the same week as the Pac-12 baseball tournament.
That's right.
So I got to come out there a couple days and just walk the course, follow along with you, and it was fun for me.
Yeah.
I think that was the third men's or women's golf event that I've been able to go out and walk the course just with the way the schedules line up.
Sure.
And so that was pretty cool, just selfishly for me. So if you could line that up again.
Okay, all right, I'll do my best.
Yeah, figure it out where there's one where baseball's at the same time. That's awesome.
I'll call Coach Waz. We'll
Thank
get
you.
it down. You got it, buddy.
He'd probably take the team out there, too.
Oh, yeah.
You guys could do a switch. You're in the cages, they're on the driving range. That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting.
The wheels are turning.
I bet you the baseball guys, they can hit some golf balls. There were some football student athletes out practicing at Emerald Valley yesterday. Yeah. A couple of them got some good swings.
Do they?
It was fun. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, the baseball swing and the golf swing are similar, yet so different that it can really ruin your swing for one sport if you play both at the same time.
It can.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't want them hitting any baseball.
After the season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Coach, thanks for being here.
Thank you, buddy.
Really appreciate it. Best of luck. When we come back, we've got more softball to talk about, actually, because the Ducks heading down to Mexico. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon softball traveling today, a long travel day down to Mexico as the Ducks will begin the tournament in Puerto Vallarta against Maryland. You can watch on Flow Softball tomorrow, 6:30 Pacific time on Thursday evening. A nice pregame heading into Oregon basketball, right, at 8 o'clock at Matthew Knight Arena. Well, a number of student-athletes talked with the media this week previewing the start of softball season. KK Humphreys, Hannah Delgado, Paige Sinicki all sat down with the media. Let's begin with KK Humphreys, someone who's now a veteran for this Oregon softball team. And some of the keys she discussed a lot with the media heading into the start of softball season. KK Humphreys.
I was curious from your perspective of the transfer, and I realize in this sport, most of the transfers happen in the summer, and you were one of them. But the NCAA just changed the rule on the mid-year transfer. So, like, a year from now, Elise couldn't be here at this time. As somebody who did transfer, albeit in the summer, what do you think of that change to eliminate the mid-year transfer from softball?
I'm kind of iffy about it. I get kind of why it happened. You kind of have to make the decision kind of fast when you want to transfer and stuff. So from Elise's perspective, I know that she was coming in and she was trying to battle it out, and then whatever happened. But I think the concept is kind of just make the decision fast, but it's also you're under pressure a lot to make the decision, and it causes like a lot of controversy and a lot of process to go through. I think mid-years are definitely more stressful than what I had to go through. I feel like in the summer it's more of like everyone's in the off season, so like they're able to interact with you and all that, but versus Elise's situation, it was kind of like she was mid-year, so it's like everyone is back in school getting ready for the season. So I kind of get where they were coming from with the rule, but I also see the other side of what the athletes are going through.
As someone who's now seen a full year of Pac-12 play, how do you feel like you've learned things in this conference, and how do you feel like it's different from year to year?
So last year I think it challenged me mostly mentally. I think coming from where I came from before, it was kind of like I would face one team and it was like, okay, I can figure it out here. But versus Pac, you're playing top teams after top teams. So you don't really have that moment of where like, okay, I can figure it out this series. So I think mentally it definitely challenged me to make sure that like I'm still checked in with myself versus like not kind of getting ahead, if that makes sense. Just kind of staying consistent with myself and understand that I need to put the extra work in and all that. So coming into this year, I think understanding that there's going to be challenges, there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be ups and downs, and just kind of going head to head with it versus like me kind of spiraling into this mental cycle that I went through last year. So
okay, if you'd indulge me kind of characterizing from my perspective looking, it looked like last year you were really successful, but you had, I don't want to say mid-season, but you kind of had a slump where you kind of got kind of pressed.
Right.
And I remember one thing Allie has said is the Pac-12 in general will humble you. It'll humiliate you. It'll bring out all your flaws. How do you think that having been exposed like that, because that's what the Pac does, has made you better for this season?
Like I said, just mentally, I think coming in, I was like ready to go, and I knew it was going to be a different look and definitely a challenge for me. I think going through what I went through is kind of like I started high and then I hit that slump and then I kind of was more steady versus going back high again. So going through that, I think it was more of like I said, my mentality, kind of like what I worked through summer is just kind of making sure that my confidence is always there and understanding that the work I put in is going to show up versus having my confidence be based on my performance. So I think the Pac definitely taught me that, is that just because I had one bad at bat or one bad game doesn't dictate what my next couple games are going to look like. So I think my mentality from that last year to this year is definitely what flipped the script for that.
Last season, the team, it was kind of mentioned with Hannah, that the team kind of lacked a killer instinct. They would stay close, but they wouldn't put teams away, and that usually ended up costing late in games.
Right.
What, in your perspective, has changed on this team, this version, that's going to make them more successful?
I would say kind of like our competitiveness, like Hannah said, but also we're making it more of like an expectation versus like what we want to get done. So I think kind of the wording that we're switching this year is just like expecting to win. Like when we come out, we're expecting to win this team. We're expecting for us to execute our plans and all that, versus I think last year we were kind of more of like, okay, we want to win, so how are we going to do it, versus like already having our plans set and expecting us to accomplish that.
What were some specific things you guys worked on in the off season to kind of train this mindset that you've been talking about?
I would say a lot of us, I know a lot of us worked on our mentality, but also we knew that every person was going to work physically on their attributes. And like Hannah said, I know she said when we came back in the fall, we were like 10 steps ahead. We were 100% sure that that's kind of the reality from last fall to this fall. It was kind of like we all came in very competitive, and the environment we built because of that off season was challenging everybody each day we're going. So it's basically making us better as individuals coming out. So.
Is there anyone to specifically work with on that mental side, KK, in terms of talk about stuff physically, where obviously it's the weight room, it's training, it's strength staffs, that stuff, but a lot of what you guys are talking about mentally, there's performance coaches for that, there's team psychologists for that, there's self-help books out there from like a Trevor Mawad and stuff like that. Are there certain people you work with or outlets you went to get assistance with?
I worked with Dr. Dave a lot coming back in the fall, but over summer I kind of did more reading. I read Mama Mentality, and then I read another one called Get Out of Your Feelings, or Get Out of Your Way, I mean. But I think it's just also watching videos I've seen online from like Brian Kane, Eric Thomas, and I think all those people kind of really sat with me personally, and just kind of relating to my situation, that I knew like my work ethic was always there, but it was kind of translating that to my confidence versus, like I said, playing each game, dictating my confidence kind of thing.
KK Humphrey's talking a lot about what goes on in the mental side of softball as the Ducks get ready to start their season in Mexico. They play 5 games over a 3-day period down in Puerto Vallarta. We'll have updates for you after they get rolling Thursday evening, 6:30. You can watch on Flow Softball. And then the Ducks will be back in action every weekend. There's no off days for softball once you get rolling, right? That's the way the Diamond Sports work. We'll have more coming up. When we come back, remember that schedule I was talking about earlier and how there's a lot going on? Yep, going to tell you about that when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
We're back inside the Country Financial Studio. It is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. You know, the schedule is always full this time of year. You know, it's always full this time of year, but particularly when we get into the spring season, it gets rolling in a hurry, and that's where we're at. But it is a huge, huge basketball game tomorrow night. I cannot overemphasize how big of a deal it is. The Ducks are squarely on the bubble, and USC is a team that, quite frankly, the Ducks need to beat because they only play them once. It is a scheduling oddity where the Ducks last played UCLA in December. 3 key players that are now big rotation players for the Ducks did not play in that game at Pauley Pavilion. So now, Oregon in the one chance against USC and a very different-looking team against the conference-leading UCLA Bruins on Saturday. Big week for Oregon basketball. Hope to see you all at Matthew Knight Arena. We've been talking about softball starting this week. Also, men's golf in action. You can follow along the Oregon men's golf social media. Women's tennis is in action on Friday and Sunday. Track and fields all over the country this weekend. Zach Lawson from GoDucks.com is going to be keeping track of all of it. And a shout-out to Oregon lacrosse. 1 o'clock against Xavier on Saturday. The Ducks begin their season at Pape Field. If you missed our conversation with Chelsea Hoffman, head coach, last week, she gave you a lot of good info previewing the season. And then, of course, women's basketball on the road, 7 o'clock on Friday. Big week. Spring sports are coming. Winter sports are heading to postseason. See you tomorrow.
This is an important message from the Mine Safety and Health Administration. Mining fatalities, accidents, and injuries are preventable. Taking a minute to approach your task safely can protect you and your fellow miners